time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming back at you for that Monday boxing recap known as the Shoe Shine. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, a happy St. Patrick's Day, Philly Irish, Drew Evil. ¿Qué pasa, homie?
What's up, Dave?
Man, I don't know do people know how special it is to have Drew back in the house? I didn't get to do the second show with you last week, but it's St. Patrick's Day, and I'm glad to have you right here. I gotta tell you, man, I went out. We had some friends from out of town who are celebrating here St. Patrick's Day, as a lot of people come to Las Vegas. It's March Madness. The casinos are actually busy. The one down the street from me, South Point, is popping, Drew. So I go down to Yard House for, they had the happy hour St. Patrick's Day specials. Yo, I got to put together this. I got sick as fuck just now, man. I had Jameson shots. They had Jameson shots with this Guinness green beer shit. And then I had this, they had an Irish burger. They had a special burger with Irish whiskey glaze. And it tasted like barbecue sauce. It was, I was so drunk and hungry, Drew, that I just devoured the entire thing. And I'm not feeling too good. But look, if we have a great show, if a bunch of you good people from the Shoe Shine family come in and start hitting that like button, I might drink some whiskey. Now, oh shit, I just revealed it's not even Irish whiskey. But I did have Jameson, man. I did do some day drinking today, Drew, and I really don't feel too good. But how are you holding up?
Tired.
I heard that, Drew. Listen, man, we got a big boxing weekend. In fact, this week is one of those weeks where PBC is back in town. They're going to be at the Mandalay Bay. Sebastian Fundora makes his return to the ring. It's been over a year. Jesus Ramos Jr. is the co-main event. And I'm happy to report, if you guys didn't hear, it's going to be absolutely free if you have PBC. If you have Amazon Prime. It's going to be free. This one is free. No, which is a good thing. That's always a great thing in the sport of boxing. That's great. That's going to be this Wednesday. If you guys are just tuning in, I will be there at 3 o'clock Wednesday, I think at the Mandalay Bay or for MGM, whoever's doing the Media Day workout. I'll be in the house, Drew. But listen, there was some pretty interesting boxing this weekend. The return of featherweight champion Nick the Wrecking Ball, Nick Ball. Damn, he's kind of a dirty fighter, Drew. Look, you saw he kicked O'Haney. I'm still looking for that picture, man. He kicked his opponent in between rounds. He kicked the guy, and they did take a point away from him. Of course, we had that. We had Callum Walsh. Callum Walsh, man. Have you been watching this fighter? Tom Loeffler represents him. He fought on UFC Fight Pass. Second St. Patrick's Day in a row at Madison Square Garden. He might be the next big Irish star. He absolutely had a smashing knockout of a Scottish opponent at Madison Square Garden. And they're talking about fighting Xander Zayas. They're calling out Xander Zayas. They want Xander Zayas at the Garden. So I wanted to talk to you about some of the great Irish boxing, maybe some of your favorite Irish boxers of past year. Of course, I've got some Olympic boxing news. And we've got some very important Olympic boxing news. So I think I'm going to start off with that, Drew, before we move into all the fights that happened this week, past weekend, and of course, what's coming up this weekend. But today, it's officially announced, and you can get a lot of good details on this one, Drew. You remember what happened at the last Olympics, right? There was a female contestant, and there was a lot of controversy about whether or not she was anatomically all female. It was very controversial, very, very controversial. And in fact, boxing is at one of its lowest points ever in the Olympics. In fact, they were talking about getting rid of it. And somehow breakdancing isn't on the chopping block, but boxing was. And thankfully, Gennady Golovkin has taken over a different amateur Olympic corporation or whatnot. I can see the exact name of it. Anyhow, he's at the head of it now. And the IOC decided that they're going to go with what Gennady Golovkin is offering. And Gennady Golovkin has saved boxing, international amateur boxing for the Olympics. It's official. It's returning in 2028. Gennady Golovkin will be in charge of putting it all together, man. He's the CEO of this thing. Your thoughts on Gennady Golovkin taking over? Obviously he's retired from the sport, but do you think it's going to make a difference? Shout out to you, Tony Boswell. Much respect to you. Santel Media's in the house too.
Quiet retirement. Didn't really inform anybody he retired. But he looks a lot different now. So
He looks like his brother. Remember, his brother
yeah,
used to. I don't know if his brother had a similarity to him facially, but now the build is starting to go. He looks like middleweight. He's easily weighing what a cruiserweight does. But no, I mean, this is a good thing. There was a lot of controversy surrounding what the prior boxing committee had done that was putting on the Olympic portion of boxing, allowing not a transgender, but allowing an intersex athlete that had gone through male puberty competing against regular women. And that was a shock heard around the world. I mean, it went global and it went viral. And people to this day, I mean, we're arguing today whether or not it should be illegal, just even, it should be illegal. But people are talking about it, especially with this new administration. I even heard California governor, and I bailed on California, Drew. I heard that Gavin Newsom is taking a stance against non-biological women competing against real girls. Like, I mean, they shouldn't be trans or whatever. They should not be allowed to compete against real girls, and that's my personal stance. Whether you guys like it or not, let me know in the comments section.
yeah, I don't approve of anyone that was born a male competing against a female in a sport whatsoever, even if it's not contact. I don't agree with it. That's one thing I don't. It's a agree with. It's more on like especially boxing. It's domestic violence. It's another form of domestic violence because it does involve a man and a woman. If we look at it, but there's a lot of things that this administration does that is really fucking up this country right now. I'm not going to speak on it
Okay.
and everything because we are about to head into a recession and borderline another Great Depression.
Well, I hope it ain't that bad, Drew. I mean, yeah, I mean, things aren't looking too good, whether you're investing in the stock market or you're at risk of, and I sympathize for anybody that's at risk or thinking they may have job insecurity. But just going back to just the base, I mean, just the principle of people that are not born women competing against women. Drew, you brought up a great point. There's been trans athletes that have competed collegiately in swimming and just destroyed women biologically. I mean, it's not fair. And that's partially the reason why they're on the outs and Gennady Golovkin is taking over that role. And I think it's welcome. So what is this one? Was it the prior one? I believe was the Russian-based International Boxing Association. It looks like they're on the way out and Gennady Golovkin's group is on the way in, man. I'm welcome. Welcome to that. Tony Boswell says, agree, Drew. Exactly. So that is a step in the right way because I'm going to be real with you, man. If we say that boxing is on its lifeline, on its deathbed domestically here in the U.S., to not even have Olympic boxing, which, I mean, so many people in our community, including shout out to Christine Lopez, who's an Olympic boxing coach herself, I mean, why would we even bother with amateur boxing in the U.S.? Like, why would anybody bother with amateur boxing? Who would dream of being, a kid from the hood saying, I want to be the next Oscar De La Hoya? If you don't even have that, but you do have breakdown. I mean, fuck, it's a good thing that they saved it.
I don't know. I look at it from a lot of different points. How we can what really we can do to make this sport better. But tell you the truth, man, like when we go along and we say what can make the sport better and everything, and then and like Turkey Ashi, Dana White, Nick Khan, TKO want to start their own boxing thing. People when I bring up the fact that if the pay scale is anything like the UFC pay scale, then that's not going to work because boxers going to look at it. You're going to pay me pennies on the dollar like a UFC fighter, like a low weight UFC fighter. Well, let's just look at it like this: the top of the line UFC fighter today, beside if you eliminate McGregor, or anybody makes a borderline maybe $300,000
Okay.
in a fight.
By the way, McGregor was, I don't know if it had anything to do with St. Patrick's Day, but Conor McGregor found himself in the White House today.
Yeah, so if we look, if anything, if the pay scale is something like the UFC, fighters are going to be like this. Why am I fighting this if I got an offer making almost $1 million elsewhere and fighting for a title? I'll go and fight for the title and make almost $1 million and make double what I'm making at this fight for Turkey Al Sheik. And then a couple people say, what? Talking about my point doesn't make sense. Yes, it does. It makes a lot of sense because who's involved in it? Dana White. And who puts the bullshit contract raises up for the fighters? Dana White. I don't like how UFC pays their fighters. It's a lot more demanding of losing weight, of cutting weight and everything. Because the weight cut, if you look at it, the divisions are separated from a lot of pounds.
Yeah, they are. And we've already been talking about, they are thinking about eliminating several weight classes. I don't know which ones. You know, I already talked about it. By the way, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Again, a picture of Beetlejuice if you're a Howard Stern fan. Beetlejuice was a fighter himself. And, he's actually managed by the Rooneys. But shout out to everybody out there. If you're enjoying a glass of whiskey or you had a Guinness today, a happy St. Patrick's Day. Drew, Dana White, I'm going to bring it up because Madison Square Garden, they had their St. Patrick's Day fight, but it wasn't like on a major boxing network that most people watch. It's on UFC Fight Pass. Dana White is really behind. He's really supporting this guy, Callum Walsh, who is a Irish knockout artist with a big amateur pedigree. And I think I'm going to try to show this clip of his knockout because it really is going to be one of the leading contenders for a knockout of the year type performance. Let's see if this plays here. Looks like it's going to play. All right, we're going to talk over it. Oh, stupid commercials. Anyways, Drew, yeah, we're here at the bottom. I've been wanting to see if this screen share thing will work on full screen. But Callum Walsh, guys, Madison Square Garden, obviously, New York City, still a big footprint for the Irish community, and it always has been. And they're obviously looking for somebody to take over the sport. We've had people like Andy Lee, Katie Taylor. I personally, some of my favorite Irish boxers of yesteryear were Mickey Ward, Andy Lee. Why is it showing this shit? Is this the clip I wanted to show? The hell do I care about him? There it is. Nick Ball kicks. The hell with this, Drew. I was going to try to show this Callum Walsh KO. I'll just show the picture of it. It was pretty brutal there. You see, obviously, Madison Square Garden, Drew. And it's trained by Freddie Roach. And it looks like they might have the attention of Bob Arum to do a super fight with young Xander Zayas. And I mean, for a lot of people who are unfamiliar to Callum Walsh, that's coming out of left field, but this fight was like practically sold out. Like he's doing better numbers than Teofimo Lopez in Madison Square Garden. You can't ignore that. And Irish fans here in the US, obviously, and internationally, they need a new boxing star. And with this impressive knockout, he's got Freddie Roach behind him. He's got Dana White, and this is just a rumor, Drew, but today on X, because, we all get our rumors on Twitter, supposedly one of the very first future stars that they're thinking about signing, they're working on his contract today, and it's reportedly for a very large sum. It isn't somebody, the rumor is speculating that it's not a well-known star. So I'm thinking it's Callum Walsh. The rumor goes on to say that when other promoters find out how big this signing bonus was, that Oscar De La Hoya, Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum, they're going to be pissed. Is it Callum Walsh? It'd be a good fit, man. Tom Loeffler represents him as his manager, and obviously he's not signed to, Callum Walsh selling out Madison Square Garden on St. Patrick's Day. He's not signed to ESPN. He's not signed to Matchroom. He's not signed to Golden Boy. I think it'd be a good fit. What do you think?
It would be like trying to attract a huge fan base. in like certain areas of the U.S. have a huge Irish fan base. So we see how it goes, but if we look at it, when it comes to boxing, nothing's big in boxing that much anymore. So I'll believe when I see it.
Oh shit! I just read that one from Finney, man. No, I'm not taking silent shots, man. It's St. Patrick's Day. You know, I love me some real Beetlejuice, man. That's hilarious. But good to see you, Finney. By the way, let's do that thing you was talking about before Cinco de Mayo weekend. Obviously, that's going to be a major Las Vegas boxing weekend. We've got the Japanese monster Inoue coming to Las Vegas at T-Mobile Saturday night. The Mexican American crowd is not going to have Canelo Alvarez here in Las Vegas. But I am going to talk about that card because the rest of us will get to watch it from Saudi Arabia on TV, I suppose. Then, of course, Friday night, wow, we got Ryan Garcia. Who doesn't want to talk about that epic weekend? Let me know what you think if you want to do that show and invite our good friend, mutual friend that we have. Invite him on the panel, man. Let's do something. Let's either do it on your channel or whatnot. That's funny, Fitty. What's good, Warlock Boxing? Appreciate you coming up in here. We're talking about this young Callum Walsh, our Irish star, future Irish stars. Again, I'm just dropping it St. Patrick's Day. Some of my favorite yesteryear fighters. Has to be one of my favorites. Got to be Andy Lee, and Mickey Ward, Drew. But Mickey Ward, coming off being an East Coast club fighter to being in one of the most famous trilogies that, will always be embedded in boxing fans' historical memory with Arturo Gatti, man. One of my favorite trilogies ever. What about you, Drew? Irish guy? Let me know.
I'm a big Andy Lee fan.
What about that?
Steve Collins, too.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Ring Magazine today posted up some of their great Irish champions, former Ring Magazine champions. I believe I got that right here for y'all. Katie Taylor at the top of that. I'm
being honest, I'm not really a big Katie Taylor fan. I think she's a dirty fighter.
Speaking of dirty fighters.
Decisions.
Speaking of dirty fighters, Drew Evo, we got to talk about featherweight champion Nick Ball, the Wrecking Ball. Man, I do enjoy watching him, but now that I've been watching him, this guy is vicious. He's, I think D-Style today posted that he was the poor man's Pitbull Cruz. Oh, I liked it. I thought it was pretty funny.
I'm sorry. He's better on Pitbull Cruz. That's a bad take.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting take nonetheless, but Nick Ball is pretty...
I'm sorry. I got this. That's a stupid take.
Nick Ball, man. Let's talk about this Doheny. Doheny just was in the ring. I don't know how you get a title opportunity to fight for a world title coming off a knockout loss. Yes, almost everybody gets finished by the monster Inoue, but Doheny just got knocked out his last fight against Inoue, and he gave it an honest effort, and he really gave it an honest effort against Nick Ball. But at 38 years old, how much do you have left as a featherweight when you've been, Doheny, I mentioned it on Thursday, Drew, he's only been beaten by world-class fighters. All his losses come against pretty much former world champions. But did you see the kick? This shit, I think Doheny had him in some kind of extended headlock as the bell rang, and Nick Ball decided that I'll just fucking kick you.
That's crazy.
You didn't see the kick? Let me see if I can find this picture, guys. Yeah, kick Ball, exactly, man. Let's see if I can get this picture up of Nick Ball kick.
It's like a kick in the nuts.
Yeah, it was a nice little Muay Thai kick in between the bell. There you go. Yeah, it was to the rear quarter there. He really kicked him, dude. He did get a point deducted later on in the fight, but it was a good stoppage. And now we've got the featherweight division. We have Nick Ball, kind of has become the new Elvinado Lopez. Elvinado Lopez, by the way, I didn't put up the graphic, but Elvinado Lopez is returning to the ring. He's going to fight in Tijuana, where he kind of started his career. For a while after Elvinado Lopez got viciously knocked out, they thought that he had a brain bleed and that was it. You know, he's going to try to fight again. Whether or not he had a brain bleed, you know, he's not fighting in the U.S. He's fighting in Mexico. So we don't know really the severity of what that injury is, but he wants to fight and he's going to fight. He's returning to the ring next month. But for the guy that beat him, just talk about people making it off of Pro Box. And I keep saying this shit, man. The guy that beat him, he's on his way to Japan to defend his title. This one is official, Drew. Let me just bring this shit up. Featherweight division, brand new Angelo Leo out of Las Vegas. Used to live in his car. At one point rolled into Las Vegas and lived in his car. Angelo Leo dropped by PBC. Was a bantamweight champion. Gets dropped by PBC. You know, does PBC really love their Mexican fighters? Makes it on Pro Box. Has an incredible performance on Pro Box. Gets a shot at the title on ESPN against Elvinado Lopez. And destroys Elvinado Lopez. And now he's going to Japan. This is official. This is going to be, I think, Memorial Day weekend. May 24th is what I'm reading. I like that fight. But let's talk about Nick Ball because he's calling out Philly. He's calling out your guy. He's calling out the Philadelphia champion. He's also calling out Stephen Fulton. And Rafael Espinoza, featherweight champion, one of my favorites, 6'1" Mexican champion. He already fought Ray Vargas. That was a draw, but I thought he won that fight. But looks like Rafael Espinoza, is he on the undercard? I believe he's on the undercard of the. Anyway, we got a lot of announcements, man. We got to talk about this Canelo Alvarez lineup because a lot of people are quick to panic today. People aren't very happy with the Canelo Alvarez undercard. It is in Saudi Arabia. We just saw a ton of fighters get sick in Saudi Arabia and drop out last minute. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen of this card? I mean, we might end up having a bunch of last minute replacements. It seems people go to Saudi Arabia and something ain't right with the water or the food or some shit. Who knows? Did you get a chance to look at this Canelo Alvarez undercard?
Yeah.
All right, let me bring that up. Let's just talk about that one really quickly. We're all over the place, guys. Today we're just getting back in the groove, guys. If you're new to the Shoe Shine and you like our content, we talk about boxing twice a week. We also got some Vegas content on here. I appreciate everybody that rides with us. Here is the Canelo Alvarez undercard. It's official. It's been announced today. Top of the card, William Skull, the Cuban German, getting an opportunity to unify. Could he become undisputed? Can he do the unthinkable and beat Canelo Alvarez? Of course, most of you probably think it's a long shot, but nobody thought Bruno Surrachi, Mr. Italian Frenchman himself, was going to knock out Jaime Munguia in the biggest upset of 2024. And here he is. Jaime Munguia is the co-main event. I do like this fight. Jaime Munguia loses again to this guy. And we could just pretty much say that Jaime Munguia is a journeyman at this point. If he loses to this guy again. Martin Bakole, Drew, stepped in at the last minute. Speaking of the Saudi, this is a good fight because he's going to have a lot of time to prepare. You've seen Efe Ajagba on PBC. You've seen him on ESPN. I do like this fight, Drew. And I like the next fight, which is Badou Jack, the return of cruiserweight champion Badou Jack against Ryan Rozicki. This looks like a pretty good cruiserweight matchup. A lot of people are like, who the fuck are the next guys? Well, Marco Verde is a silver Olympic medalist that they're trying to build up, and he is from Mexico. They're trying to build his career, and most people aren't even going to know who the last two guys are. But overall, this fight's probably going to be a pay-per-view for $25.99 maybe? That's kind of, I mean, in this economy, is that a good thing?
No, but here's the thing. You're paying a membership a subscription. It doesn't make sense. No. I'm sorry. I'm not going to fucking pay a fee on top of another fee. No. You're not even offering a discount for being a subscriber.
Oh, this is going to be on DAZN? See, I'm missing the I'm missing. I see DAZN. Is it going to be exclusively on DAZN?
Probably.
Not free? Oh, man. because some of the prices that, Turkey Ali Sheik's, the recent mega card that was undisputed with Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol, that was really cheap. And I thought that was a great price for a full day of Saturday boxing. And this is going to be midday Saturday. A lot of people are going to be here in Las Vegas. I don't think that Las Vegas is going to have the typical Cinco de Mayo crowd this year at all. First of all, Canelo's not here, and we'll talk about the Inoue card, but they're going to really have to try to get the Mexican-American community involved in wanting to see the monster. And they did a good thing by starting with the main event is Cardenas. He is Chicano, but he doesn't have any fans.
I'm going to say this right now.
Yeah.
That Beaver Better BFV match only did $45K. Why? Because it was on the Zone pay-per-view, but you're paying a fee on top of another fee. It doesn't make sense. They're going to keep people. Turkey doesn't realize. You can't get rid of the subscribe. If you guys, there's no subscribers, tell them they don't pay for the pay-per-view. You gotta do something for your subs. Other than that, why are they paying for lackluster boxing? You're only paying $50 for maybe $55 for an event. Unless you already paid the $200 and some dollars a year. Like, come on. People need to realize they're getting robbed. They're getting fucking robbed.
I know that Dana White reportedly had a problem with ESPN on his prior pay-per-view, that he wasn't too pleased with them. But then again, it looks like with Bob Arum on the way out, and Bob Arum is going out with a bang. Literally, Drew, they are going to be offering Inoue May 4th, the Cinco de Mayo weekend. There's 3 fights, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They will be offering this free carnalitos. It's going to be free on Sunday after shit. As a Giants fan, they're going to be offering this fight for free on regular ESPN. Anybody that got ESPN can watch this. And remember, Top Rank is on their way out. The contract expires in July. Immediately after the Dodgers are done, we got to sit around and wait for Ohtani. They're going to be packaging as a big Japanese doubleheader. Ohtani versus the Braves. Who gives a shit? And then as soon as that game is over, they will be televising Inoue from the T-Mobile Arena right here in Las Vegas where I live for free. Drew, I like the sound of that, for free. I like that. The other shit I don't know about. I don't know. If you could watch from a building in Times Square, a hotel room, you might be able to peek out the window and watch Ryan Garcia fight free on Friday night. But, regular people aren't going to be able to attend that Times Square fight. It's going to be by invitation only. You could stand on the outskirts. You could, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever. Are you curious how much this fight costs? The Inoue fight, Drew? Because I looked into it. A lot of people are like, Dave, are you going? Are you going? Are we going? Are we going? I'm like, well, T-Mobile fights ain't cheap. Typically, Canelo Alvarez fights start at $300. When he fought Gennady Golovkin, nosebleeds were $600 a piece. Top Rank thinks they're doing us all a favor, and the cost of entry for nosebleeds to see Inoue fight is $250 plus fees. That's with the economy, the way it's going and the recessions, if we have one, man, $550 with fees for a date night. Take my lovely wife to go see the monster. There's a lot of things I could do with $550. I might just watch, free, I don't know if I need to watch Inoue in person, especially in a fight I know that he's most likely going to be victorious in or stop Cardenas. He's probably going to stop the guy. Come on. Would you do it? Would you spend $500 in fees?
No. Fuck no.
I might just, where's Fonzie? I might just stay home the entire weekend and set up every TV in my house for 3 days of boxing. Maybe just you stay here and cover all the fights right from here. But I am looking forward to see who rolls into town. Cinco de Mayo is always a great time in town. This year will be different though. with like I said, with Canelo Alvarez not fighting here in Las Vegas, I really wonder what it's going to be like. What do you guys think it's going to be like? Oh man. Anyways, today, Drew, in boxing history, speaking of great Mexican fighters, today is the 35th anniversary of Julio Cesar Chavez versus Meldrick Taylor. If you've never seen that fight, go watch that, because obviously 90s boxing was a golden era. 90s boxing was a golden era. 35 years ago, Julio Cesar Chavez versus Meldrick Taylor. You want to talk about a clash of styles, man? That was a clash of styles. Let's talk about Edgar Berlanga, Ammo Williams, the main event.
That's not.
Really quickly, let's touch on it. Because I put this in the thumbnail. I put it in the thumbnail. This is not a cab. This is not a joke, guys. And I don't ever like to call anybody a cab driver, an Uber driver, or this or that. But if anything merits insults like that, it would be the choice of opposition that Edgar Berlanga and Matchroom Boxing came up with in the co-main event of this Saturday on DAZN. I'm not even making this shit up. Well, Boxing Antics on Twitter, which they're a great channel. This was up on, this is the day of the weigh-in, and his opponent took 10 years off of the sport of boxing. He actually had a good thing going on. He had 2 fights last year, and this is who Edgar Berlanga and his team, along with Matchroom Boxing, decided that I believe this was the guy they wanted Edgar Berlanga to fight in Puerto Rico. He was supposed to headline his own. Like he was going to have this, I just fought Canelo Alvarez. Now I'm returning home to see my people, my Puerto Rican people. Your Philadelphia fighter did the same thing, Drew. I remember Garcia went to Puerto Rico and it was a very close fight against a Mexican-American fighter from LA. He didn't have the luxury of doing this fight in Puerto Rico, and he was pissed that he was the co-main event. But how the fuck do you expect to be anything more than a co-main event when this is the guy you're fighting immediately after fighting Canelo Alvarez? Like, I don't want to body shame that I look much better than this guy. I am in my late 40s at this point, but dude, 10 years out of boxing, and I think this guy must have weighed 250 pounds, got on Ozempic, and got back down to 168 pounds, because you just don't walk around with that much excess skin. And it took all but what you guys think. Let's look at this picture of this knockout, man. It's been more than 5. What'd you say? 5 seconds? I ain't even gonna. Do I have that? Listen, this is what Edgar Berlanga, after his amazing knockout of this fighter who had taken a 10-year layoff. This is basically the message. This is the message. He had some serious words with Caleb Plant in Las Vegas, leading up to the Canelo Alvarez fight. He has some genuine disrespect, bad blood. Caleb Plant is used to being the bad guy, used to playing the heel, but in this situation, everybody is Team Plant. And Berlanga is really trying to sell this fight. Now, Berlanga is approaching free agency. He had a very short-term deal with Eddie and Matchroom Boxing. He could be the guy they're talking about at TKO, being one of the very first signees that's going to get a large sum of cash. Maybe it's him. I don't know. I don't know what the value is for. He thinks he's a pay-per-view fighter. I do like this fight. I do like the fight between him and Caleb Plant. I think with all that bad blood, somebody's going to get knocked the fuck out. And I think I would like to see this fight. 23-2 Caleb Plant versus 23-1 Edgar Berlanga. Caleb Plant is a former super middleweight champion, the former IBF super middleweight champion. Edgar Berlanga has never been a champion. But Edgar Berlanga did go 12 with Canelo. If that means anything to you? Does it mean anything? They both have a common opponent. Who did it better? Caleb Plant stopped by Canelo Alvarez? Man.
Caleb Plant was stopped by Edgar Berlanga.
Oh, man. Hey, good to have you if you're still here. Time Capsule, appreciate you being in the chat today. He brings up a good question. If every fighting dirty move was legal in boxing, which would be your signature move?
Easy.
The low blow?
blows. I get an extra shot at.
The low blow? Shit, me and Drew both agree on that, on the low blow. So Edgar Berlanga could be a free agent, Drew. Who do you think picks him up? Is it going to be PBC?
Misfits.
He'd be the Misfits champ. He'd be the Misfits champs for sure. I think if he does get let go, we don't know the future of PBC either. They do have an Amazon Prime deal. They are putting on a card this weekend. They do have Gervonta Tank Davis still with them, and they have Gervonta Tank Davis. Looks like we're going to get an immediate rematch this summer, potentially in Las Vegas. Gervonta Tank Davis back in Las Vegas, potentially in June. If he is going to sign with anybody, it just makes sense that it be with PBC. 1 or 2 fights. A lot of guys at super middleweight at PBC that can make it potentially happen. All right, man. It's been a great show so far. I appreciate everybody here. It's 8:30. We're going to go for about another 15, 20 minutes. Drew, there's some interesting fights this weekend. I'm just going to run through some of them. I don't want to go too deep onto any of them. Let's start with this Wednesday. I'll be at the Mandalay Bay. Sebastian Fundora makes his return, Drew. And he's fighting Cordell Booker. Do you know anything about Cordell Booker?
Yeah, he's a bum.
Cordell Booker is in his 30s. And quite honestly, I'm surprised at PBC with all the... You got... on the co-main event, you have someone who really should be undefeated, Jesus Ramos Jr. You have a lot of people calling out Sebastian Fundora. Xander Zayas is ranked pretty high. Could have fought him. Could have fought a lot of guys. Could have said, hey, man, fuck this. Terrence Bud Crawford is leaving the division. He's made it public. How about I fight Murtazeliev, who just destroyed Tim Tszyu? Much easier than he did. With all the blood running down Tim Tszyu's face, you would think, hey, man, let's get a... but no, he's fighting Cordell Booker. Cordell Booker started boxing at the age of 18. In adult boxing classes, man. From 18 to the amateurs to making the Olympic trials and eventually losing badly to Charles Conwell. Charles Conwell with Golden Boy, a fantastic Olympic boxer. That's who... He made it pretty damn far, Drew. Golden Gloves winner. Late starter. Now he's approaching 15 years in the game of boxing. You don't hear about guys starting at 18 years old and eventually getting a world title opportunity. But here it is this Saturday at the Mandalay Bay. If you're in town, let me know. I'll be, I think I'll be live streaming on Wednesday at 3:00. See what's cracking over there at the Mandalay Bay. Last minute replacement for Ramos Jr. Speaking of PBC, Drew, really quickly, because I didn't get to talk to you about it, man, but let's talk about Keith One-Time Thurman in Australia last week, middle of the week. What did you make of the performance by Keith Once-Upon-Time Thurman getting a stoppage in Australia?
KLS knocked out a 140-pounder. KLS.
Did he look good? Did you see him with ring rust? Were you surprised that he still has power like that?
No, really. When he fights a bum, yeah. Fights a guy that doesn't belong at 154, is a national junior welterweight. Yeah, fuck him.
We are blessed today to have the Tinkerbell in the house. She's wishing us a happy Thanksgiving. She dropped a $4.99 super chat. Drew, we are blessed. Thank you, Tinkerbell, so much. A little bit of a quiet show. I know everybody's probably watching all the cool Las Vegas streamers downtown. Thank you so much, Tinkerbell. We really appreciate that. And what are you doing? What are you doing for St. Paddy's Day on the internet?
Sleeping.
Drew, Emma Williams was at the top of that card, of the Edgar Berlanga card, and he barely walked away with a win. I have to say that card in Florida was pretty boring. It was kind of full of no surprises.
Yeah, I fell asleep doing it.
In fact, I think the Nick Ball stoppage and the Callum Walsh fight, which ended rather quickly, I think that was the most entertaining thing all weekend. Pro Box is back this Saturday night, guys. If you got Amazon Prime, I just said it, everybody's going to be able to watch this Sebastian Fundora fight. And it should be free because this fight it's not fucking pay-per-view material at all. It's just stay busy material. For PBC, they need to keep their roster busy.
Yep.
Also free this weekend, Pro Box is putting on a fight card main event that was postponed that features Sacramento's Joshan James. Was fighting at middleweight. Dude, this guy Joshan James is so talented, to be honest. He's trying to find a big promoter, whether he's just signed with Pro Box or not. He's trying to get a big fight. And the guy he's fighting, let me just show this really quickly. This Guatemalan fighter, and there's never been a Guatemalan world champion that I can think of, but he's pretty damn talented. He's very talented. I have to say that. Saturday night, free on YouTube. We're going to have Lester Martinez, like I mentioned, a undefeated Guatemalan super middleweight that can box and bang. He's going against California, Sacramento, Joshan James. This is going to be a really good free main event on Pro Box. It could deliver tons of action. We also, I believe, have Jasmine Artiga, a female champion. I mean, this is a pretty good fight card. Saturday night, I'll be busy going between both fights, obviously. Keep your eye on the winner of this Lester Martinez, Joshan James, because one of these guys is going to emerge as a star. Even if Joshan loses, Drew, I think Joshan has a big career ahead of him in the super middleweight division, especially as there's a lot of turnover now, people moving up in weight or people leaving the division. And it's still being the home of Canelo Alvarez. Also, what is it, Saturday? Oh, does anybody even give a shit? But Kambosos is back. Kambosos is back. And I think Eddie Hearn's girlfriend is on that. Is Eddie Hearn dating who I think he's dating? The Australian Olympian? Where's that Kambosos thing? Yeah. I believe he's in a relationship with her. Nicole. What's her name? Nicole Sky? Yeah, I love Pro Box Warlock.
Sky Nicholson.
Sky Nicholson. Thank you, Drew. I just can't find the picture of that. But the other one.
Good for him.
I thought pretty sure, man. I saw a picture of her recently leading up to this fight. You guys are going to be her upper body is ridiculously yoked, man. I mean, there was a lot of jokes. I think she could definitely beat Eddie Hearn, and she might even be beating him. She might beat him. Just like, what'd you say, Eddie? She just beats him, dude. She's looking yoked. She's making Alicia Baumgartner look pretty small, man. And speaking of former Australian champions, did you see the baby picture? Let's see the baby picture. You see the baby picture I'm talking about?
Oh, Kell Brook's kid?
Yeah. Speaking of, Kell Brook finally revealed who he had a baby with. You know, it was all rumored. Everybody said. But I don't think she's ever coming back to the sport. Speaking of Australian champions, looks like Ebony Bridges will never be coming back to the sport of boxing, really. I mean, Kell Brook and her celebrating their baby. Now, they don't have to keep their relationship in secret. I mean, was it a secret? It was like they didn't want to. Now they show the baby like, oh, yeah, we're in a relationship. We got the baby. The baby just came. So, yeah, Kambosos is back this Saturday. Kambosos arguing with Ray Jackson on Twitter all week. I don't know if you saw that. That guy, Ray Jackson, boxing with Ray Jack, offered the forklift driver a job cleaning windows in his gym.
I gotta say, Kambosos just needs to stop talking shit. Seems like he takes a worse ass whooping every time he talks shit.
Is this his opponent? I believe it's coming on this Saturday, and it's a last minute thing. I believe his opponent is a last minute pick. Is it Sugar Johnson? She's actually got one of the titles, this Australian champion here. Of course, Nicholson doesn't yet have a world title, but it looks like there might be an eliminator or something like that. But if you care, it'll be on DAZN, whatever time that's going to be at. Thanks everybody that's been joining us for today's Drew and I are back. I know boxing wasn't that exciting this past weekend, but this weekend seems like there's a lot going on, and there's going to be something. I think it's going to be rather something interesting or exciting happening this weekend. Good to see you, D-Style. They had a good friend. Just really quickly, if you guys didn't see, I believe it was on your channel. It was Calix Boxing with a good friend of the show who I haven't spoken to in a long time, but Jay Chaudhry was on their channel, Drew, and Jay Chaudhry was like very instrumental early on with pushing me to do a boxing podcast years back. So a big tip of the hat to Jay Chaudhry for being on your channel. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Nicholson is the WBC champion. All right. So there's 2 female Australian champions on that card. I'm going to show that again really quickly. And that'll be available on DAZN, I'm guessing midday Saturday with the time change, maybe even very early in the morning, like the Keith one-time Thurman fight. You know, that was pretty early. Kambosos is back. We've got in the late evening, we've got the PBC fight free on Amazon Prime. They'll be at the Mandalay Bay Wednesday and Thursday. I think all the events are scheduled this week, and I'll go over there on Wednesday to go check it out. Obviously, Fundora's there at the top of the card. Jesus Ramos is there. Be interesting to see if I can talk to Jesus Ramos and who he's interested in fighting, Drew. With all these new talents emerging at 154, one of the deepest divisions, it should be very, very interesting. Guys, I know it's been a short show, but we didn't have too much to talk about. I appreciate everybody coming in here. D-Style, salute to you, and Calix. What are you looking forward to this weekend, Drew, or just coming up this spring in boxing? Anything?
Not really, just relaxing.
Just chilling this spring. I hope it's good, man. You guys are still champions. 49ers, I want to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. 49ers made this graphic. It is almost over. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. Thanks for everybody that joined us. We will be back Wednesday at 3 o'clock, live from, I believe, the Mandalay Bay. I will be there, so make sure you hit that notification or make sure you're subscribed. Leave me a comment. Leave a comment how we can make the show better. And then Thursday, if you don't mind, Drew, let's pick a parlay. Let's do a really quick show Thursday night. If you got some time, we'll go over all these fight cards and look at the odds and pick some parlays for this weekend. I'll be particularly interested at the MGM Sports because PBC is in town. They should have some really good parlays. Shout out to everybody enjoying March Madness, St. Patrick's Day. I'm Dave in the 702. Philly Irish. We out, man.
Yep.
Peace.